Hi, I'm Bonnie Barker with BonnieBayCrochet.com, and I'm real excited to show you a traditional project. This is a great project if you're a true beginner, and it's also a fun project if you're a veteran of crocheting for many years. I didn't realize how much fun these were to make. I sat down to make one for the YouTube video, and I ended up making three. Okay, let me tell you what I'm using for this. I'm using the Parfait layers. This is available at, I found 9 at AC Moore, and they may be at other stores, and I know they're certainly online. I'm not being paid to promote this or anything, but I just really like the texture. It feels really, really soft, and it's wonderful for baby blankets. And it's self-striping, so there's no color changes. And I wanted to show you some of the colors that I made with this. This is a blue, and this is the one I'll be crocheting in the video for you. And this is actually a smaller baby blanket, just some leftovers I had from another project, and just really love the way the colors kind of come out on that. And this is a special one I made for my daughter, who requested this color for her doll. So really, really fun project, easy project. And also something special about this, got a string to hide there. One thing that's really special and nice about this project is that it's a continuous granny square. This is a technique that I just learned recently, even though I've been crocheting for decades. And if you look at it closely, you're not going to see any line of turning chain in this project. And that makes it even more fun. So you have the same side facing all the way around. There's no turning. There's no joins. Nothing really unseemly about this at all. It's a lot of fun, just continuous crochet. And well, anyway, let's go ahead and get started, and let's make one of these together. For this project, you're going to need one cake or scan of the Parfait layers. This is a Premier yarn. It's a really nice, has a velour soft feeling to it. It has 459 yards, which will be about what we're going to use. And this is a bulky weight yarn. Now, if you don't have something like this on hand, don't worry. This project can work up just as well with the worsted weight yarn, although it probably won't be quite as soft. I'm also going to be using a size K crochet hook, or a 6.50 millimeter in size. And I'm also recommending that you have a yarn needle to hide loose strands, which will only really have one or two. And I have a pair of scissors on hand. Okay, let's go ahead and begin. To begin, I'm going to start with the slip knot, and I'm going to be a little more deliberate and slow as I show this, because I know there may be some true beginners watching this project. Okay, for the slip knot, I just push away, turn like this, and then take the yarn that's connected to my ball of yarn and pull it through. And then give it just a gentle tug and a gentle tug again, so that the yarn is the size of the crochet hook. And we're going to chain 4, and I reach over with the yarn over the back and just pull through 4 times. 3 and 4. Now this part might get a little bit tricky if you're a true beginner, but but just hang in there. It's very doable. We're going to work what they call a slip stitch, and all you do for this is I want you to stick the hook in the very first chain that you made, and then pull the yarn through, and then pull the yarn through again. And then you should have like a little donut here, or a little Cheerio. We're going to chain 3, and now we're going to work a double crochet, and we're going to work them all right into the center here. Okay, and the way we do that is we wrap the hook, we stick the hook into the hole, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. We're going to do that one more time. Yarn over, go right into that donut hole, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now we're making the beginning of the granny square, and so we're going to chain 2, and for every chain 2 that we make in this particular round, that is going to be forming a corner in the future. All right, now we're going to wrap the hook, and we're going to do 3 more double crochets going right through the middle. 1, yarn over, insert hook, pull up the loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Do that 3 times. Okay, now we're going to do that again. Chain 2, and then we're going to work 3 more double crochets, just going right into the center where we've been going. And chain 2 again, and we're going to do it one more time, and you'll see the corners once I finish this round. 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to chain 2 again, and we're going to do another slip stitch, but we're going to do it to the very top of that first chain that we made. Put the hook in, pull the yarn through, and pull the yarn through. Okay, now this is the only time that we're actually going to turn. Okay, we're going to turn, we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to begin making the corners more defined. And this is how we do that. We're going to working in this big open 2 chain space here. We're going to work 2 double crochets, and I'll explain why we only do 2 right now. The reason is this chain 3 actually serves as a double crochet. It looks like a double crochet even though it's just a chain, but as far as the space and everything, it takes the place of another double crochet. Okay, we chain 2. Now we're going to work 3 more double crochets in the same space where we just worked the other 2. Okay, just like that. And now we have, this is what we would call a corner. Wherever you have a multiple or 2 of these double crochet clusters and a chain 2, that's going to be the corner. Now we're just going to chain 1. And we're going to work the same thing, almost the same thing in this next corner here. We're going to work 3 double crochets. Then a chain 2, 1, 2, and then 3 more double crochets in that same space. Okay. So now we have 2 corners made. I'm going to chain 1, and we're going to make another corner. We're going to go, we are skipping all of these double crochets here, and we're going right to the space here for the, well, for this entire project. We're going to be working in the spaces in between what I'm going to call the double crochet clusters, which is 3 double crochets together, chain 2, and then 3 more in that same space. This is the only round that's going to be quite like this. Now we have 1 more corner to do. I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to work 3 double crochets, again working in that next chain 2 space, chain 2, and then 3 more double crochets. Oops. And so far, this is what you should have. Okay, now this is where the traditional granny square is different from what I'm going to show you with this continuous granny square. With the continuous granny square, you're not going to have to do any more turning, and you will not have to stop and join and therefore leave this line in your work. This avoids all of that, and this is how we do that. Okay, after we completed this last corner here, we're going to chain 1. Now we are going to work a cluster in this chain space right here. So instead of joining with the slip stitch, we're actually going to work 3 double crochets in this space, just like this. Okay, and after we do that, we're going to chain 1, Now we are going to work continuously around, and there's some very specific directions on how to do this. And that is, every time you come to a corner like this, you must work a corner, which would be three double crochets. You're going to make 2 clusters in this corner. Okay, 3 double crochets, chain 2, and then 3 more double crochet so that you keep it looking like a corner. Okay, so there really are like 2 clusters, 2 DC clusters, and the chain 2. So, and then you chain 1, and then when you get to a place that's not a corner, you simply work 3 double crochets. Okay, and then we chain 1 in between. Now we've gotten to a corner here, so I'm going to go ahead and work another corner. There are a lot more corners earlier on in this project. As your square gets bigger, your blanket gets bigger, then the corners become, well, much more infrequent. Okay, but it's very important that you pay attention to where you are, and when you come to that corner, that you do 2 of the clusters divided by the chain 2. Okay, now we chain 1, and then there's just, this is not a corner, so we're just going to crochet 3 double crochets. Okay, chain 1, and we've come to another corner, so we go ahead and crochet the 3 double crochets. I know I'm moving kind of fast here on these double crochets. I don't want that to scare you, but it's the same stitch that we've been doing. The yarn over, hook in, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Once you've done this a few million times, or even just a few thousand times, it's amazing how quickly your muscle memory will pick up on this, and you won't even have to think about it. Okay, then chain 1 in between spaces, and again, we come to the next space, we just work 3 double crochets there, chain 1, come to another corner. We've almost made another round. So we have, in this corner, we're going to work 3 double crochets, chain 2, and then 3 more double crochets. This yarn is nice and smooth. It doesn't have a lot of friction, so it doesn't really hurt the hands like some of the thicker yarn can do. Okay, now we're going to chain 1. We're getting close to our repeat. Do you see where we started this here? And I promise you, once this baby blanket gets to be really large, this is going to be almost unnoticeable. Okay, so now we just work in the spaces, 3 double crochets in that space, chain 1, and then we just keep going. Okay, now we're going to have, see there's another space here. We just work 3 double crochets in that space, chain 1, and for the double, for the corner here, we're going to do 2 clusters in the chain 2, as you remember. Chain 2, and then 3 more. So honestly, this is pretty much it. I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to show you one more cluster. Okay, let's step back and take a look at what we're doing. Okay, so we are just going around and around. And one thing nice about this is, except for this first stitch, this first round, everything is going to have the same side of the double crochet showing. Okay, so what I want you to do is just to continue this all the way around until you've used up most of the yarn. You're going to have to estimate how much we're going to need on that last round, and it's going to be a lot. If you're using the parfait, I would go until you have maybe 1 or 2 of the color changes left, so that we have enough for the final round, but I'll go ahead and I'm going to continue this, and then I'll show you what it looks like once I get to my first color change. Okay, I've worked several rounds, and I wanted to show you what I have at this point. Okay, now this yarn is just so nice and squishy. I wish you could feel it. And it's really nice to work with. And one thing I really like about this is that the color change is barely noticeable. I'm just going to let this be here. Can you see it? The color change took place in the yarn itself right here. I didn't have to tie any knots or anything. And I just point that out because as each of these color changes happen, it's really not even going to be noticeable. Okay, so I'm just going to have you continue on with the same, working 3 double crochets in a chain 1, in these holes here. Make sure that you always crochet 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets in all the corners to keep the square. And I will show you what I have once I get to the point where I want to begin my final round. Okay, I've completed 19 rounds. That's including the very first round that started here. I just wanted to show you just how these colors just flow into each other. You can see where the color changed here. It seems a bit obvious, but when actually you lay this out and you look at the entire project, it's barely noticeable. So now I have come to the last color change. Let me show you. It's kind of hard to see. I have this much yarn. This is the last color remaining on the scan here, and I believe it's enough to finish this last round. That's going to differ from what we've been doing. Now this is kind of experimental as far as when to stop, and I know each of these scans can be a little bit different. If there's just a tiny bit left of the color, you're probably going to have to go the last 2 colors that remain in the scan and begin this last round. Or you may even have to, give it a try, and if you run out of yarn, then, take out just one of these rounds and then begin what I'm about to show you, 1 round sooner. Okay? So let me go ahead and show you what I'm going to do. Okay, so there's a little bit of a problem here with this connection. I'm going to go ahead and just give it a little trim. Okay, that's a little bit better. Okay, so I am just in the middle of my row, and it honestly doesn't matter where you start this. You can even start it in a corner, but this is what you're going to do. So now we're going to start with the blue. I'm going to go into the middle of this cluster and to the top, and I'm just going to do a slip stitch just like that to anchor this stitch. Now I'm going to work 4 double crochets in this hole. Remember, we were working 3 before, but we're going to be doing a small shell all the way around. So I make 4 double crochets, and then I'm going to do a slip stitch in the second or the middle stitch, just like that. And we're going to do this all the way around. I'm going to do 4 double crochets. I'm going to move this yarn out of the way so it's not disturbing us. 3 and 4. Okay, and then we're going to anchor it with a slip stitch again. Hook in, pull loop through, and pull loop through. Okay, I'm going to do this all the way until I get to the first corner, and then I'll show you how to do that corner. Okay, I'll just anchor this one for you, 4 double crochets, and then a slip stitch. When you get to the corners, we're going to do the same thing by anchoring with a slip stitch in that middle double crochet, and then after that you're going to work 7 double crochets in this corner to give it a nice, curve effect. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7.
and then follow that with a slip stitch in that third double crochet, and then continue on with working 4 double crochets in each space until you get to the next corner. And go ahead and do this all the way around, and I'll show you the final join at the end of this project. Just wanted to show you what your corner should look like. Okay, before I show you the last join, full disclosure, I had to pull out some of the stitches because I didn't have enough of the blue to make it all the way around. So what I did is I estimated, and I actually pulled out just one side of the square. You don't have to pull out a complete round since we're not joining these rounds, which makes this really convenient. So I had to use some white on these shells, but you know, honestly, this is fine. The baby's gonna love it nonetheless, and it'll probably be a little more interesting for a baby's eyes to look at and to study as they, you know, hold and carry this blanket with them. So anyway, this is the last 3 double crochet cluster that we crocheted, and then remember, then we began with our slip stitch and then our first 4 double crochet shell. Okay, well, this is the last shell that I worked, and so instead of putting the slip stitch in the center, I'm going to bring it all the way over here, and I'm actually going to connect it to the first double crochet of that first shell. Yes, it's going to be a little bit of a stretch, but you know what? This is still going to work out just fine. So do a slip stitch and then do a chain 1, give it a pull. I'm going to get my scissors and cut the thread. Okay, and then just pull this on through. I just want to show you just how nicely that does connect in. It's not really that noticeable. And I'm going to show you one more thing before I go. I'm going to show you how to hide this loose strand in such a way that you'll never see it again. And the beauty of these yarns that are all connected and they have the color changes built in is that there really are only going to be 2, actually just 1 strand to hide. Okay, so I'm going to go down. I'm going to actually turn with the back side facing. Not that there really is a front or back to these, but I'm going to try to hide this, kind of bury it deep into the blue yarn. I don't want to try to hide it under the white because it'll you know, stick out like a sore thumb. So I'm going to just run it under the stitches just like that. Okay, now I could just trim it there, but you know what? I like to leave long, hide a lot of the yarn, especially for a baby blanket, because I know how abused these things can be, and you know, carried throughout the house and everything. So I'm going to hide it under 2 shells, just going under all the stitches, just like this. Give it a tug. I'm going to pull back just like that. Just make sure that it's comfortably hidden in there, and then I'm going to clip the yarn close, but not too close to my other stitches, because I don't want to make the mistake of cutting, you know, the other stitches. That could be a really big problem. Okay, so, and there is one more string, which actually was hidden well right here when I crocheted around it, but if you need to, you can thread this and run it under more of the stitches just in a circle there, but I've already crocheted around them, so I'm just going to go ahead and give this a clip. Again, close but not too close, and my baby blanket is all ready. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. And really, there is no front or back side. Okay, I'll just give you a view of these beautiful colors in this yarn. And again, I wish you could feel how soft it is. It has that microfiber feel to it. And I think this is going to be really fun. And just the way babies like to explore. And I know a lot of babies I've had, they like to stick their fingers in things. And this is a blanket that's very, very forgiving and will be great to, you know, play with and just to cherish for years to come. Okay, well, I hope you liked this video. If you did, go ahead and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of the new things. I have videos that are both for beginner and intermediate, and even one crochet along currently running that's for advanced crocheters. So if you just click that little button, and you'll have more fun videos coming your way. God bless. Bye-bye.